Okay, we're live. This is Nick Finelli, and this is EdTech Office Hours on Thursday edition here on YouTube. And we got a couple of things we're going to be doing today. It's mainly going to be Google-centered. Got a lot of neat questions and a couple of neat tricks that we can do to help you with just some simple things with Google. And so we'll explore something I saw today just on the Google Plus communities, questions about YouTube on classrooms. Then we'll look at enabling videos and looking at the admin side of making sure all your stuff is in the right row for YouTube and allowing your teachers to be able to approve videos. And we'll go into Google Drive and look at some simple shortcuts, not shortcuts that for your keyboard that take just as long as clicking on something, but true shortcuts that's only like one key, and it actually makes a difference because otherwise if you clicked, it would be more than one key or more than one clicks to get there. So I'll talk about a couple of those. And last but not least, we'll look at research with Google, research tables and the simple integration with those with maps and sheets. And so without further ado, let's open up and look and start with what we're doing. I'll share my screen. Give me a second here. Go and minimize the screen. All right. So I guess I want to start out just by saying thank you for coming. Again, remember, go to Nick Finelli, at Nick Finelli for Twitter. If you join me on Facebook, go ahead and subscribe or follow me on Facebook. It's Blend Tech Learn, and you can actually get there straight from going to blendedtechlearning.com. You'll see a direct link to the Facebook page that we have at the bottom on the footer of any page. And then, of course, the YouTube channel that you're watching now. You'll see more and more videos as we keep on doing more and more of these and adding extra things in there. So have fun, enjoy, share with others. Lots of other goodies on the site. All right, so now let's go to questions. So the question was, and it came, I believe, from looking at my notes, I believe Maria was on the Google Plus community, and she was asking, it was on the admin community, she was asking, she was noticing that the videos, when they're posted, so here I have a video posting, and I have multiple videos. So maybe you want students to watch multiple videos. But what's happening, and YouTube, Google's had made this change recently because there were some things that allow students to really look at the videos while they're on the page. So I think, and I'm not sure, there's probably some reason, and I'm going to look into the history of it since this was just kind of asked today. But I'm going to try to find out whether it was done on purpose. But what it looks like is there's a Lightbox, or basically a preview type window that opens up. So no matter which one of these I click on, so there's 4 videos in here, and actually the first 3 I use the YouTube. Go to edit here. So I use the actual YouTube video link to do this, and then the next one I used an attachment, or excuse me, not attachment, but a video link. And so what happened is no matter which one I click on, so here's the first one, notice I have this preview screen, the black preview screen that comes up. And then there's the video, but notice I can go through all 4 videos through the preview screen because it's part of this same assignment. It realizes that they're all videos, so it puts them all together. Now, that was the first video, okay? So now if I go down to the third one, watch what shows up first. Same thing again. So I would have to actually go to the third one. Oops, I skipped. Go to the third one, and that's how I'd be able to play it. Of course, I could open it if I wanted to open it up in YouTube. The only alternative that I can think of besides having this, it would be either to have them as separate, or if you own the video, of course, attaching it, it would do it differently if you attach the video, or simply right-clicking and open in a new tab. Again, it will open up in YouTube. So I think part of the reason is trying to avoid that, and so that's why it opens it up right there in that preview mode and makes it much easier, because YouTube could be blocked. The actual URL could be blocked, but the video could be approved. So I think it makes it easier as far as on the back end. So that's my guess on that. I'm definitely going to shout out to some of my folks at Google and at the YouTube team and just verify that information. And I'll post it as a comment on this video once I do find out. Or if one of you guys does know, then yeah, go ahead and shout out to me about that. That would be great. All right, so that's the first one. So just showing you that. So of course, put anything, but just know that if you put multiple videos in there, they are going to bring up that little Lightbox preview and allow you to view them. But it's no matter which one they click on, it's always going to go to that first one. All right, so the next part, let's go and look at the admin control panel. So when you're there, you have the ability to have your teachers enable YouTube and enable certain videos within it. So I'm going to actually go to apps. And then once I'm in apps, there we go. It's asking me to sign in again. All right. So once I'm in apps, then I'm going to go into, they're not part of the core apps. It's YouTube is not listed in there. So it's going to pull up under the additional apps. So there's my additional Google services. And of course, I can go straight to it. I can go, I'm just going to page over until I get to the YouTube part, which is right here at the end. So when I click on YouTube, there's a number of things as an admin you can do, depending on how mine is showing for all organizations. So I have it pretty wide open. But of course, if you have YouTube blocked or changed or have some sort of network configuration with YouTube that's different, then you're going to have to also deal with that. But let's just start here with the content settings. So when you click on content settings, there's actually a setup here where it says you can restrict YouTube videos based on certain permissions. So first of all, you check the box. So signed in users in your organization can only watch restricted and approved videos. Okay, so that means it's going through that approval process. There's the approved videos right underneath. And so who can actually approve them? If you have that group and you're using Google Classroom, then that group itself, the Google Classroom Teachers Group, you'll notice at the bottom left when I hover over this, it'll say classroom.google.com/teachers group. That's your group that basically of verified teachers. All of them would be able to. So when they're watching a video and they want to approve it, they would get a blue kind of approval button. And I'll show you what that looks like from my end on the approval part. But here, let me just click on see approved videos. So you're going to see you can also approve entire channels, not just videos. And you can see different things that were approved. And I can say, oh, wait a second. This was a student. Somehow this was allowed. I need to cancel that. They cannot. All right. So just looking at it, you can see who's approving things and who is not and what things they are doing. So those are just the approved videos. If I go back to my admin control, under YouTube permission settings, it's really just going to open up the admin control panel in a different spot. And it's going to show me the permissions and how you can change those. Run a little slower tonight. So there we go. So we're under content. So actually the next thing underneath is permissions. So I could have easily just clicked on that, but I wanted to show you what it did. So here's where you set your permission level. Of course, you can have the strictest and restrict YouTube access at all, and this right here is set for all organizations. So of course, if I was over here on the left and I wanted to do something different with a different OU, I could easily do that. I can set it up so permission level can approve videos. So all people can approve videos. I can do unrestricted YouTube access for particular OUs, or have them moderate restricted YouTube access. So just depending on the differences you want, if I right click and open this in a new tab, I'm going to show you what YouTube's support page would say and Google support page would say. So it has definitions for each one of these. Depending on what you're doing at your school, you'd want to read these and find out what's going to be the best under, of course, your policies at the school and what's going to be allowed. But this is a quick way to kind of know what it is you're getting yourself into to restrict. And it continues on. So restricting YouTube content on your network, it'll talk about that using your DNS or HTTP headers, or even Chromebooks themselves. Simply on Chromebooks, it's going to be setting the Chrome policies for each user, which is a simple step just in the management of the Chromebooks, which is of course under domain and device management. And let's see, so I'm going to go under here to permissions again, and you can see you can just choose all those. The last one is the advanced settings, and this is just setting up. So like right now I'm actually using Hangouts on Air, which is YouTube Live in a sense. And this just allows me to do it from my domain. So if you want people to be able to record or broadcast Hangouts live for other people to see, you can enable this or enable them for teachers. This might be a good thing to do if you're having some sort of professional development and you want to open it up so that, teachers don't even have to leave their school and they can attend professional development within your school, and different teachers could be, basically it's a virtual PD day, and different teachers would from their own classrooms would be able to present and have a community of learners and really, allow this to be a fully virtual world, but also allow them the comfort of not having to travel all over the district and everybody having to be in the same space. You could have signups and set up events. So that would be a cool thing to me if schools would do that. The Hangouts on Air can be private, so it doesn't mine is public, of course, so everybody can see, but it can be private and can allow you to not only record what's going on, but as you see, I've been using my screenshots and being able to see live video also. So you see the person and whatever they're controlling. So if they're on their own computer, they could share something from, their smart software or Promethean software or something else they're using. It doesn't necessarily have to just always be in a browser. It could be specialized software that they have on their computer because it's just sharing my desktop. All right, so that's number 2. So looking at YouTube, and actually that came from someone here in North Carolina where I live, just up the street, Christy. So the next one is I'm going to talk to you about, let me close out of these. Actually, I want to go into Google Drive. And so a lot of times people have questions about Drive, and there's some things you can do. I really like Drive. It has a lot of nice controls to be able to do and be able to see things. Some people I know say things just get lost in Google Drive. I mean, I love to search and I'm able to find stuff. Yeah, there are many files, untitled documents, things like that you might have in Drive, but it's okay. You can always filter and find them very easily. So let's talk about some shortcuts. So let's see. So I'm just going to click off of here. So I'm at different parts of this, and so I'll just go down about halfway. So the first shortcut I want to talk to you about is just the renaming. So normally to rename a file like this one, I'd have to right click and then go to rename. Okay, that's 2 steps. Okay, so now when I select an item and I just type the letter or hit the letter N, the rename automatically comes up. So to me, that's a time saver and a changer. So any files you want to rename, just remember N, rename, and easy done. The next shortcut, simple shortcut. A lot of times you're looking at stuff and you're like, I like the list view because it shows everything, but I don't want to keep on bringing the mouse up here. And even though it is 1 click, now it changes it. Well, now I don't see as much. I don't even see the name of the entire file, but I see the snapshots, but then I have to go back up here to see the list view. Is that the right one? So simply by typing or touching the letter V, as in view, you change it from your little thumbnail grid view to your list view. So just simply back and forth, you're able to do that. So that's a nice little shortcut. Again, just save some time. So we got V for view. We got N for rename. The next one is the letter Z. Okay. You probably know about Shift Z, but just the letter Z itself opens up the move. Okay. So normally you'd have to go up here to when you have a file selected, and you could right click, but you could also click on the three dots, and then you'd have to click on move to. Okay. Or you'd right click, and then you'd have to click on move to. So simply by touching Z, you can pick where you might want to move it to. So if I want to move it to somewhere else, another folder, there we go, move, and it's done. Next up, Shift Z. This is the only one I have today that's really like extra key functions, but it's just important when we're talking about moving files. You can also add files to the same spot. So Shift Z, now instead of moving the file, it also, this is in my drive, but I'm also going to be putting it in, let's say, this folder here. So I add it here, and then I can do Shift Z again and add that same exact file to another folder. And so now it's in multiple places. So that's another nice feature. If I were to go to Drive and I look for the Harry profile, you can see it's going to be under Calculus, and it's going to be in Classroom. Oh gosh, which one did I use? I think I used that one. No, not that one. I could always search for it, couldn't I? So I could do recent. It would show me the file. There it is. And if I wanted to get some information about it, I could touch the eye, and the eye brings up your information activity. And then of course I can go to details and see that it's in this level 2 one from Greensboro. All right, so the eye was bringing up information, and then of course I can close that. If I hit the eye again, it would be off. All right, next one. This also takes 2 steps usually. So if you right click on anything and then you go to share, then it brings up your share box. Okay, so right clicking and sharing, that's 2 steps. So let's make it 1 step. So the only thing you have to do to share is actually hit the dot or the period. So I hit the dot or the period, automatically sharing comes up. I do the same thing down here, hit the dot, sharing comes up. So sharing is using the dot. So just some simple shortcuts. All right, the last shortcut on Google Drive is just the Q. You probably know about this one, but Q deals with, I say it's quality, but really it's the density of the page. So it will go from the different views, whether it's, of course now it doesn't seem to want to work. Oh, that's because I'm in recent. Let me go to Drive. So if I click on Q and Drive, it changes my density levels, which now I'm not sure why it's not showing up. I might be clicking on it too fast. There we go. So it's basically cycling through all the different density levels. If I were to go to settings over here, it's the same thing as you choosing the density here. So you got comfortable, cozy, and compact. There's your comfortable, there's your compact. There. I wasn't patient enough, and there it is. So just by switching it. So those are 3 things I wanted to show you on the Google side as far as there's Drive and all those little shortcuts. Um, the last thing is I get a lot of questions about, I do a lot of things with geo with schools. And one of the things I do often is bring in stuff from data from different maps. So I have this resource here, which I'll also post. This is my Google Maps and Virtual Maps page. And one of the things I like to do is use this research.google.com tables, which looks something like this. So if you actually just type in research.google.com/tables, you'll get this area here where you can look up information or table information. So it combs or um, scrubs the internet for data. And so once you find the data, it'll show it in different areas. You can have it show the rows so you can see, oh, is that what I'm looking for? And it's basically looking for charts of different types. So here's the record highs of different cities and things like that. Looks like it only has 6 rows and 4 columns, so I probably wouldn't use that data. It doesn't have enough information. But this one up here I had was from snowfall records. So what I did is I click on it and then click and open the spreadsheet. And it'll ask you whether you want it into a Google Fusion table or a spreadsheet. So I just chose a spreadsheet, and what it does is it opens it up as a spreadsheet. And now you can edit it, of course, use any type of information that you need from it. If you just want it for information, that's fine. What I like to do is take that data and maybe even additional data and put it in a map. So here is a map that I made earlier to give you an example. So what I did is I found the snowfall, the average snowfall of each state in the United States over the last 30 years. So I found the records, and it said from like 1985 to 2010 or something, or 2015. And it was from the NGCS, so it was National Geological Society data. And so then what I did was I basically added a layer. So I added a layer, and the first layer was this data, and it asked me where this data was coming from. And so then what happens is it plots all of those places based on where I say. And so looking back at our average snowfall, here's the actual data that it came from. And you can see it has days of snow, state, place, inches. And so back on my map, when I click on Idaho, it's going to show me the number right there automatically is 19.2. So those are the days of snow. This is where it's recorded, and there's the centimeters. And the 19.2 represents the average snowfall in inches there. And I could verify that or write different things inside of my data, but it's actually just displaying the data. I used Idaho as my place mark. Then I did for, and you'll also see different colors here. So you see how it's darker in some spots than others. So what I did is I actually changed the style of the different places, and I gave it a range of 10, and I changed the color. So it would have a range from, if I did it from 4, then the range wouldn't be as much, but I did 10, so you could see 10 different styles or ways to label. So I did it by inches. And so it's looking at all the differences in those numbers. So if I hover over 0 to 0.9, you can see all of them highlighted. And of course, they're in the southeastern part of the south and the southeastern part. But then as I go up, you can see how it's moving to certain areas all the way until we get to the coldest areas. So that's just kind of interesting to be able to see and use, and they're all labeled. And then what I did is you can actually add different layers. So what's great about this is that you can compare this snowfall to maybe the record snowfall. So now I just took record snowfalls. So it's basically went back to this table, research table, and did snowfall records, which you just saw the data table here, and imported this. And so on the map, it shows them all in uniform style, and I actually chose a snowflake icon, And there's all 50 items highlighted. So there's really no differentiation here. So I just did it by numbers here. But when I click on it, I'll do this one in Montana, it shows the location and then the dates that it had that record snowfall. So that was 48 inches. So if I want to see and change that, similar, instead of uniform style, I want to do an individual style based on the snowfall. Now it'll be similar to the one up top, except for it'll be color coded for that snowfall. And let's do it. It's saying it's not available. Might be some of my numbers might not be exact. There we go. Okay, so it's done it by color, but the range, it might not be allowing me to do 2 color ranges. Okay, I will check on that. I didn't think about doing that way. All right, so here's our different colors. It looks like it just did it individual by style. There's no rhyme or reason. Might be better off doing it back how it was, that uniform style. Maybe if I switch off the other one, we'll see. But now I can click on any of them and see. Of course, I can zoom into certain areas and look at it even closer and look at maybe the mountainous regions right here. You can see certain areas. So this is just all making maps more fun, exciting, and telling more data and using that data then to make predictions and talk about other things. So this was just something I did with snowfall. So now how do you go about doing that? So I'm going to actually go back and start from scratch so you can see. So what I did is I went to MyMaps, and it's actually google.com maps. I'm just going to, let's see if we can, I'm going to go back even further. I just type in MyMaps on a Google search, and notice it's google.com maps, DU, and then 0. You can also get to it straight from Drive. If you are ever using Drive here, when it asks you to make a map, you can go down to more, and MyMaps is right here. So it's the same thing. All right, so I'm back here. So now here's my map, and I want to create a new map. So I created a new map, and maybe I want to name it. We'll just call this Snowfall US. Add a description, comparison, however I want. I can change the base map here. Maybe I want to show more of what it looks like without the boundaries, show more of the topography. And now I can import layers. So I have snowfall in the US, but I don't have any markers. I could add my own markers up here, just like you can on any of the maps. You can even draw lines and have it measure, but we'll talk about that another time. I'm going to import. And so when I click on import, it's going to say, well, where do you want to use it? So I'm going to go from Google Drive, and I'm going to look at my most recent stuff because I just added it. And I'll do average snowfall by the US. So there's my Google Doc. My Google Sheet for that. So now it's going to fetch the document and look at it and analyze the data, and it realizes that I have these columns here. So let me look back at the average snowfall and see how I have days, state, place, inches, and centimeters. Going back to the map, I'm going to choose which one is my place mark. Well, let's choose the state, because if I chose any one of these others, it would not know where to mark it on the map. Then I click continue. Now, what do you want to be your title? Or basically, what it's marking the state, but what is the thing it's marking it by? So I could do centimeters if I wanted to for this one and click finish. And so now it's going to take all that information. So each state it's able to find, and it's going to plot a point. And there we go. All the states covered. Notice they're all the same color. There's no, unless I click on it, I won't know any information about it. But there's the centimeters, the average snowfall in centimeters. There's the days and the inches. So if I want to add some more information to that, I can go to this information style and have the labels show the state if I wanted to. There we go. And I could also have it just do the centimeters if I felt like it. And so now I see all the centimeters, and there's where I get my scale. And so instead of uniform style, I want to change it to individual styles. And so now I go to centimeters. There we go. And so now it's showing all the numbers there. Going back to, if I did a sequence, notice it ranks them, but it's only putting them in order of alphabetical. So I would actually have to change the numbers here and actually sort it. If I did that, then it would renumber them based on highest to lowest, or however I may choose to do that. So you can actually do that, manipulate that in the data. If I didn't want to do sequence and numbers and I want to do individual styles, then I could place a label here, there. So that's showing all our different numbers. And so now if I wanted to add an additional layer like I did on the other one, I just click on add layer and import. And now I'm going to pull the drive information from the other specific data that I had. And so there's our record snow. So now it's going to go through the same process and allow it to put on top. So let's do location instead of state. And I click continue. And then we're going to count the 24-hour snowfall. And so now it's going to load that map and layer it on top. So now I have two different styles, and wow, they're all the same colors. It's going to be hard to read. So I'm going to have to change what this looks like. So I can change the second set of data here to, instead of being all the items being this, I can go for more items, and I'm just going to type in snow. And come up with some icons. I'll choose this one. You can even customize your own icon. So now it's the same color. Let's say I want to change it. Maybe we'll do black. I don't think I clicked on black. Let's try that again. There we go. And so now it's showing all of them by that layer. I have a uniform style, no labels. Let's say I do the state name. There we go. Or I can do city name. There. So I'm noticing the data didn't come over quite well enough, because look, it says open the data table. 23 rows couldn't be shown on the map. So there's a lot of states there not represented. So if I open up the data table, I can see, wait a second, I'm using location, but the location doesn't actually show the place. So like, for instance, it may not know where Mount Washington is. So what I can do is put a comma in there and put in an H and hit enter. And then there we go. Mount Washington, New Hampshire there, one of the windiest places on earth, can now show the data. So if I go to somewhere else, like, oh, Dover, Delaware, it didn't know that. So I can do this. So now Delaware would be mapped. And so I'd have to go back in here and edit each one of these. Not sure what the 3 and E means, but I know that this is in Georgia. So it's mapping there. So you'd have to actually go through and fix any of your issues, or you could do it prior and fix it here on the actual spreadsheet. And that way you would when you import the data, it might be much easier. So it just depends. So now I have this map with these locations, or if I go to the previous one, so I can go back to MyMaps. There's the one I did previously that I didn't even title. And it brings up the information. Of course, you can share this map. You can give other people, oh, I went to the wrong one. You can give people the specific information. I think I named it weather. There we go. You can preview it. You can give people other people access, so that way they can add or plot different points. Maybe they can import data into that map. Maybe they can add things specifically to it. So for every one of these little plotting points, you can change the color, you can edit it. See, there's parts to edit. You can even add pictures. So then that opens up, either your own pictures or a Google search if you wanted to, or YouTube search if there was some sort of video. So for every one of these in MyMaps, you can kind of specialize it and add these items. So those are our big four for tonight. And thanks for coming by. Just want to remind you that we are still we have open enrollment because it's a rolling time to see and take your Google certification. So we have a boot camp certification level 1 course. You can also take a Microsoft Innovative Educator course online. And so these are all self-paced at your own rate. But also what's nice about it is you can, when taking these courses, you can always send information to the facilitator if you have questions. You basically have a mentor all the time. So if you need help or you're doing things, and I always hear nice things about the people being helped out and what they're able to do. And, it's just a great way to learn and try to lay it out so that we can all help each other and do things to make things better in our classroom. So again, thanks for joining our office hours. We'll see you next Monday for Facebook Live. And of course, as always, these videos will be posted on the YouTube channel and across posting on Facebook. And if you have questions during the week, don't forget to use hashtag #AskNick, and we'll be able to answer them on air. Appreciate it. Everybody, let's let me switch out. And I want to bring this up and get rid of my screen sharing. There we go. All right, so that's it. That's our walkthrough tonight. Thank you so much. Again, this is Nick Finelli. Look forward to seeing you again.